All right, here we go, boys and girls. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, Classroom Central.
Good morning, Classroom Central. This is our 3rd grade. We want to give a big shout out for our journals. They keep our reading, our vocab, our writing. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. So 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for everything, Classroom Central.
Good morning, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Karen Calder, and I began my journey with this amazing organization in 2002 as the founding executive director. Since then, we've distributed over $70 million in school supplies throughout the 6 school districts we serve. I'm just as energized by our mission today as I was in the beginning, and I'm excited to share an update with you here today. But first, I'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Teeter, as well as our other generous event contributors. Teeter has been a partner with us for nearly 19 years, and in addition to sponsoring this event, they provide guidance and resources in many other areas of our business. Thank you for your investment in our work and for making this event possible. We're so grateful that you carved out time to be with us today. In the brief time that we have together, I invite you to really be present, to minimize your computer windows and silence your phone and email, and really be with us for these next few minutes. I promise you'll be glad you did. Over the next 30 minutes or so, you'll hear stories of struggle and triumph from local teachers and students as they've navigated this past year. In addition, I'll share the exciting ways Classroom Central is evolving to meet their needs. And before we leave today, we'll invite you to join us in continuing to positively impact hundreds of thousands of lives by investing in our mission. In 2020, the world witnessed what we already knew. Teachers are the most creative, compassionate, dedicated group of human beings on the planet. We watched as our teachers used minimal resources to figure out ingenious ways to keep students engaged and achieve what seemed nearly impossible. Teachers used shower doors as dry erase boards and taught art class using the most basic resource, water, instead of paint. Check out what these amazing teachers have done with Classroom Central support.
There's like planets all over the place. Are the planets in a straight line?
Yeah.
No. We found another star. Check this out.
I am Nicole Matthews, 3rd grade teacher, Sugar Creek Charter, and I want to say thank you to Classroom Central. This lovely candy. I visit my students every 2 weeks, and I will be filling their Valentine bags with candy. So thank you, essential workers, Classroom Central. Karen, I miss you. Thank you.
So my students tried to decorate my kitchen wall / classroom, and they threw their handprints virtually. And here's my workspace. Everything from Classroom Central.
So this is my normal setup for my hybrid teaching. I have my teacher laptop, I have my personal Chromebook to monitor the kids, and then I have my webcam, and that is where I look at them in our Zoom class.
Even in this hybrid model of learning that we're in, my class has remained virtual. So I'm doing science through a computer screen, and that is just naturally challenging. So another challenge, of course, is that students don't have a science lab at their house. I can't say go grab your goggles and go grab your droppers and go grab your, vinegar. Like they don't have those things in their homes. Every teacher that I know spends their own money on classroom supplies and has some sort of second job for the most part. And so for me, now social media has really become my second job. I started Miss BTV when COVID-19 closed schools to keep my students engaged. From my first viral experiment to my most viewed video and every activity in between, I've had so much fun and absolutely love being your TikTok science teacher. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, I love you.
Thank you, teachers, for all you're doing for our students. As you've seen here, teachers have implemented entirely new ways of teaching students in the digital space almost overnight. And we knew at Classroom Central we had to get creative too. And when the pandemic hit and schools closed, we could have easily closed operations and hunkered down to weather the storm, but that's not who we are. And it's not who our community needed us to be. Instead, we got proactive. With school buildings closed, physically reaching students became challenging through our core programs, including our free store and mobile free store. So we immediately expanded our network of community partners to meet students where they were, at home, wherever home was to them. That included partnering with homeless shelters, affordable housing providers, and even partnering with Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office to serve families living in hotels. In addition, we collaborated with school districts and sent supply kits to each of their meal pickup sites. Collectively, we served more than 10,000 students in a mere 3 months, something we never dreamed would have been possible. Over the summer, it became increasingly clear that back to school would look nothing remotely close to normal. Again, we partnered with the community to make sure that students had what they needed to learn, regardless of where that learning was taking place. With the support of the Carolina Panthers and many others, 30,000 students received backpacks filled with supplies so that they could learn from home. Knowing we would be challenged to reopen our free store, we implemented online ordering with curbside pickup for busy teachers juggling a hybrid model of in-person and remote learning, many of them with children of their own. Much in the same way that we've all adapted our grocery buying habits, teachers can now place a supply order on our website, and since July, we've fulfilled more than 6,600 curbside orders.
So I've been coming to Classroom Central for the past 3 years. I teach at a Title I elementary school for Gaston County Schools. And this place is very near and dear to my heart because it has helped me supply my students with things that they would not have had otherwise.
100% of what I do is basically funded by Classroom Central's ability to provide for us. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to give my kids a lot of the materials that they need if I didn't have access to Classroom Central.
It's been really nice because they've continued to put items together for us even with the pandemic. They've made it possible for us to do the drive-through pickup, contactless, and made it safe for us to continue to provide for our students.
This year they changed things up and I just go online, click, click, click. They come pick it up, schedule, and then they just load it in my cart.
It's been great. It's been phenomenal. The resources are amazing. They've been very helpful. I have a lot of kids who need a lot of things, and so the ability to not have to come out of pocket for those items has been a lifesaver.
We're so grateful we've been able to help teachers through these challenging times. But our innovation doesn't stop there. This pandemic has provided an opportunity to rethink our entire business model. And sometimes thinking outside the box has you evaluating the box itself. This coming back to school season, we will launch a new subscription box service as a means to expand our reach. This program aimed at new teachers will send supplies directly to their classroom throughout the academic year. This program will not only make their first year on the job a little easier, but will help them become familiar with our programs and lifelong participants in our work. Don't get me wrong, our mobile unit and free store programs will definitely reopen when the time is right. Teachers love to visit and to collaborate with one another inside of a space that's all their own. Prior to 2020, our growth was limited by our space. Now we're able to see a completely new path forward. We can expand our impact by 32% and increase our service to teachers with some renovations to better align our space to our new programs and processes. This is not an either-or program decision. Our vision is to run our new programs in tandem with our tried and true ones. In doing so, we can make an even greater impact in our community, one that doesn't require teachers to spend the equivalent of one paycheck per year on supplies, and one where half of our community's children don't arrive at school empty-handed. And to do that, we need you. We have 127,000 students who rely on us each year, so every donation is important. In fact, we take every donated dollar and transform it into $9 worth of school supplies given directly to our community's teachers and students. While we love paper and pencils, we know teachers are the most important school supply of all. They're on the front line of education, ensuring the success of the next generation, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to one such educator, Titus Ivory. Titus is a teacher at West Charlotte High School, but he's so much more than that. He's a coach, a mentor, and a trusted friend who is coloring brighter futures for his students every day.
They have lacrosse leagues here. Teaching in a pandemic, it's been kind of chaotic. Chaotic and somewhat inspirational. You try to reach the kids in any way possible, and this is a great testimony to how we as teachers have to navigate through unknowns. A lot of the times there are just black screens, only black screens and names. I've had to call a couple of parents and say, you know, your child's not logging on. And a couple of my students have been like, listen, coach, I can't do this virtual thing. I'm having to work. I'm at work with my father every single day. School is not working out for me. And I've had 2 kids drop out from that. Anybody get a chance to? Before we went back to in-person learning, we were all virtual. So me and my classroom was actually my bedroom. That was the only free space in my home. You know, I have 4 kids, 2 high schoolers, a middle schooler, and a second grader. And so watching all of them and navigating my classrooms were just a task in itself. Teaching on Zoom, teaching in my bedroom, teaching at home, teaching somewhere other than your classroom is not just my story, it's everybody's story. So I've seen teachers in closets, I've seen teachers in garages. You know, that process for me was challenging, but my entire life has been challenging. I had a stroke in 2013. And so the next time I woke up was in the hospital with my wife. And so the doctor basically explained to me and my wife that, you know, in the next 48 hours, we'll know if he pulls through. And so when I saw the tears come down my wife's face, that's when I started crying and I knew the severity of the situation. After that, it was a long 3 to 4 months of rehab. Just one of those adverse things that, you know, life throws at you. My daughter is a 9th grade student athlete at Independence High School this year. All through her 8th grade year at Piedmont, she was going through lymphoblastic T-cell lymphoblastic cancer. And so now in December of 2020, she rang the bell and was cancer-free. And so dealing with her and her other 3 siblings is a challenge in itself. Also, my wife is an educator of second graders. And so the challenges of life don't go away. And so the challenges of school don't go away. And the reality is when you mix them together, you just have a bundle of craziness and chaos in there. Everyone has a path. And I know my path is to promote positive influences, especially over my students, so that they can become great someday themselves.
When I met Coach Ivy, he lifted me up.
Being a teacher at West Charlotte, I can relate to my students and say, listen, I'm from Beatties Ford. I'm from one of the toughest parts of the city. But if you look at my testimony, I made it, you can make it.
When he grew up, he said he didn't have a good time. He was pushing, he was struggling. He had bad times, he had good times. And it's like me. Because to me, I was homeless for a couple of years. Didn't have a good house. Like, you're going to be somebody in the world. As Coach Ivy says, he said, y'all all have a future.
He pushes me to be the best. There was a point where I was getting bullied, and I felt as if I didn't even, I felt as if I didn't even belong. And he taught me, he said, you can get through anything. After the whole semester with him, that one semester I had with him, it just seemed like everything brightened up because of Coach Ivory.
Going through this pandemic and knowing what we've gone through so far, the need is definitely still there. Actually, we need to double down on it and push a little harder. Oh man, Classroom Central has been a true blessing. The need for Classroom Central and the resources and the teachers giving back is huge. The kids and their families are going through so much. And so there might not be finances out there. There might not be the resources out there to get some of the things that they need. Going forward, I'm gonna be very optimistic about where we're going. Having the pandemic hit us like it did, losing so many family members, friends, and people from the community, not getting to nurture our children like we know they need to be, that's all in the past. We're gonna move forward now. We're gonna change up the dynamic. Hopefully we learn from this pandemic and understand what we need to get stronger in to basically create a new atmosphere for us ahead.
Titus, thank you for sharing your story with us. My name is Chris Schaff, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. On behalf of myself, the board, and the entire Classroom Central organization, we cannot thank you enough for your participation, advocation, and support of our mission. Today, I'm going to ask you to plant a seed, one simple act that can grow and make a profound impact for the students and teachers in our region. Growing up, I was lucky to have people who planted seeds for me. I was born and raised into a very loving and supportive household where the gift of education and the resources that were needed to be successful were a priority. These resources, like books to read with and pencils and paper to write with, were always at my disposal. This, along with a stable support system of mentors and people that were focused on my academic growth, became instrumental to shaping the person that I am today. Now, I say all this because schooling was never easy for me. At an early age, I was diagnosed with a learning disability that made learning difficult and created a sad burden for my self-confidence. I had to work extra hard to be on par with my peers, which became a life lesson for me at a relatively early age. It also brought a sense of awareness to my life to not only recognize the importance of hard work, but also the importance of opportunity. And that opportunity of being surrounded by an incredible supporting cast that wanted me to succeed. Despite my struggles with learning, I never once had to worry about the tools and resources that I needed. Today, I ask myself, what would my life be like if I faced any other distractions like access to these necessities? These past 12 months, our community has experienced hardship in areas like we've never seen before, from unemployment to food insecurity, to mounting concerns with mental health and academic challenges in our virtual teaching environment. Yes, the same community that welcomes over 100 new people every day because of the great job market. The same community that is ranked as a top place to live by U.S. News and World Report is also the same community that ranks last among America's 50 largest cities in upward mobility. It's a grim reminder that there are underlying issues we must conquer. The same books, pencils, and papers that I looked at as afterthoughts growing up are a luxury to thousands of children in our community. And the only way to change that is for continued support from great people like yourselves. My wife Amy and I believe in Classroom Central and have pledged our support by joining the Society for Excellent Education, also known as SEED. SEED members provide Classroom Central with a stable base of operating funds for a 5-year horizon. If you have been inspired by what you've seen today, we ask that you join us by making a multiple-year commitment and becoming a member of SEED. If you select the donate button in the top corner of your screen, the online pledge form will appear to the left of the video. Starting at the top of the form, you'll see the opportunity to become a member of SEED, our Society for Excellent Education. The pledge levels are intended to give you a sense of what your contribution could do. The first giving level, Red Apple, is a pledge of $1,000 each year for 5 years. $1,000 equips one classroom with face masks, hand sanitizer, and disinfectant wipes for the entire year. Your gift today supports students because the playing field should be level and all children should be equipped to play. Classroom Central believes the future of education is dependent on attracting and retaining quality educators. The next giving level, Silver Apple, is a pledge of $2,500 a year for 5 years. A gift at this level can support the launch of a new program for first-year teachers. Your gift could equip new teachers with a quarterly subscription box of basic school supplies, books for a classroom library, student learning incentives, and introduce newly hired teachers to Classroom Central's resources. Teachers spend an average of $1,000 on supplies every year out of their own pockets. The next giving level, Crystal Apple, is a pledge for $5,000 a year for 5 years, which provides 5 teachers and their students with the tools they need for the entire school year. Your gift today empowers educators because every teacher should be focused on instilling the love of learning rather than burdened with buying supplies. The final giving level, Golden Apple, is a pledge of $10,000 a year for 5 years that helps us fully implement the innovations we adapted in 2020 by providing necessary renovations that will align our space to our new programs and processes. Your gift today supports teachers with the heart work that it takes to change the life of a student. The more we can give to teachers, the more they have to give to their students. Let's balance the inequities and create a community of promise for every child. For those of you who choose to join SEED, please select your level by clicking on the blue plus sign. Scroll down to Make Your Gift Reoccurring and select Annually. Then select the number 5 for the amount of years. We also respect that you may prefer to give a one-time or monthly gift, or a different amount, so we provide the next section on the form for you. We truly appreciate whatever level of support you can provide, and we ask you to make a direct impact by making the first payment on your pledge today. Perhaps you would like to consider donating stock or hosting a school supply drive, giving the gift of your time as a volunteer, or are interested in including Classroom Central in your planned giving. Maybe you simply have some great ideas for us. If so, select the next option, the one that says, please click here if you would like to discuss other ways to help. As you are completing the form, please know that whatever you give, including the gift of time, we sincerely appreciate your support of the educators and students that we serve. When you are finished, please select the Submit button highlighted in blue. And now you've just planted a seed for the future. Your gift has the power to change trajectories of countless lives. Together, we can grow out of this pandemic stronger and create equity in education for every child in our region. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. We'd like to give a special thank you to our ambassadors for helping contribute to the success of this event today. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Harris Teeter, and all of our generous event sponsors. And most importantly, thank you for joining us and for coloring a brighter future.
I'm really thankful for Classroom Central.
Hello, this is Trent Sims. I just want to give a huge shout out to Classroom Central for stocking my supply closet.
Without you, our students really would not have what they need.